Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And it's February, and February means Valentine's Day, the month of love. Oh, and so, because of that, we're going to have a look at this book right here, which is My Romantic Adventures, number 67 from 1956, ACG Comics. But before we take a look in there, mind you, I've got my books available. Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology and the little bit thicker Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes. They're both available at Amazon. Unfortunately, on Amazon, they're tied together, and you can't get to this one without going through this one first, which I don't like. But they are also available on Thrift Books and Barnes & Noble online store. So, and my new one is more mainstream. Has some superhero stuff, adventure, got a western, got some horror. Whoops. So check that out if you haven't already. I want to thank everyone who has bought my books, and I encourage everyone who is interested to do so. It's only $7.99. So, here we have Romantic Adventures, My Romantic Adventures, number 67. Now, that title was published from 1949 to 1964 for a total of 90 issues. 48 of those were as the title of My Romantic as Romantic Adventures, and part of it was My Romantic Adventures. And ACG Comics, it was an American comics publisher, and they started in 1939 using the ACG name. They had published under a different name before that. They started using the ACG name. I said that wrong. From 1943 to 67, and it published the first ongoing horror title in comics, which was Adventures into the Unknown. And they also produced Forbidden Worlds, which the publisher was founded by Benjamin W. Sanger, and they also had published Herbie, the Herbie humor books, also called The Fat Fury. And so take a little look inside here. Okay. And here we have, we've got each other, sweetheart, and that means we're rich. Don't miss this heart-throbbing story of big city love. Read, We Had to Be Practical. And look at the people. They're kissing her on the subway. And look at everyone sitting there just giving him the wide eye. Okay, and here's the first story. We Had to Be Practical. And I think this is a different artist doing that cover illustration, because this one is drawn by Ogden Whitney. And of course, they didn't give credits, but he signed it. So Ogden Whitney, he did a lot of stuff back then. And it's about this girl, just got to town in New York, presumably, and gets a job as a waitress, and how she's starting out having a hard time keeping up, and she hasn't even met the short order cook. Now someone starts hassling her, and then he comes out. The cook comes out and lays this goon flat, who was harassing the girl, the waitress, and So that's when they finally actually meet, and they chat, and they become friendly, and they each head home. Turns out, on the subway, and it turns out they're neighbors. They live in adjoining apartment buildings, so they chat a lot. They do things together they're at work together, and then at home they're together. Her name is Amy. Yeah, that's it. Her name is Amy, and then they get a little close and smoochy a little bit. Said, no, wait, no, this isn't right, because I don't want to be stuck here in this. And both of them have aspirations to better themselves, but they can't do that here. They realize they've got to latch on to somebody with money and position. So they wound up going to a charity bazaar when a couple of the real swells of town, this a man and a woman who are some of the socialites, are going to be there, and they both manage through various means to kind of latch on to their respective socialites. I'm not going to go into that, but and they're trying to get an in and possibly marry these people and better their social status and financial status. But meanwhile, here, then when they're starting to get real close to their socialites targets, and they both realize, no, I can't do this because I don't love this person, and they rush the next day at work, and they realize it's because neither of us could do it because we love each other, and then they'll smoochy. So regardless of their social status, they're going to be together. And then champion text story. Then have School for Romance, and again, no credits, so I have no idea who wrote any of these. But now this one, I was initially thinking it might have been Al McWilliams, but the more I look at it, the more I think it's Reed Crandall. I'm not positive. Don't hold me to it. But School for Romance. This is a brand new teacher right out of teaching school, college. And she goes to this school and appearing to the new principal. He turns out to be a new principal too. And boy, he looks stern and gruff, and he acts kind of gruff. And she, all through the school year, she's kind of he seems to be coming down hard on her, and she makes fun of him and gets in trouble. And she starts seeing this guy from the drugstore or whatever, and a little bit, but he's just someone to do things with, but she's not necessarily really interested in him until the principal catches her necking with him in the park at night. Oh, she's mortified, and she just despises this guy. So the end of the school year, so she completely breaks it off with that drugstore fella, and she goes away for the summer to for a hotel, a resort for a couple of weeks, and they're there, and they're starting off with a masked ball, and she meets this guy who's dressed as the pirate, and all that, and they take their masks off and stuff, and he refuses to give her his real name, and doesn't want her to tell him who she is. So they're partying, having a good time, all seeing each other that whole time they're at this camp, at this resort, having a good time, and getting all smoochy, and then when it's getting towards the end, and she has to, and she's broken up because he refuses to tell her his actual name. So they're going to have a theater for the closing theater event before they all leave, and she's working on some makeup and going to make him up, and it turns out without thinking about it, she makes him up, and oh my gosh, he is the principal. And then she's mortified and runs off, going to take off. And he comes and stops her and explains, "I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you because you didn't like me as the principal, and I don't need to be as rough and gruff as I have been, but I was trying to show my superiors that I could be, and I didn't mean to come down so hard on you, yada, 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 all this other stuff." So he said, "That's all, I'm sorry. I'll see you back at school." Then she stops him, and oh, lovey-dovey, they get married, and then later, he is the principal, and she is the assistant principal some years later. Ah, how sweet. And here's another little one. Country Girls Kisses. No idea who this artist is. Now, a lot of the artwork for the romance comics the draftsmanship was often superior to many of the other mainstream comics, especially some of the superhero stuff. But they all have their own sparkle. But just because for the type of story that it's telling, they really needed some really nice draftsmanship for the figures to make the young ladies very lovely, and the young men very handsome. So here we are. It's at the country at a hoedown, a barn dance, and the girl is goo over a boy she's known for her whole life, and they're all gaga. And it turns out the farm is doing poorly, and she has the idea of turning it into an inn, kind of like a bed and breakfast thing. So they're there. A few people start showing up because they only have very very few. But then this rich lady from the city comes, and she likes the place, and after she leaves, then she brings a whole bunch of her friends to stay there, and so they're real busy. And the friends now, they get to ride horses and do all kinds of farmy things. But one of the guys shows up late, and he just really takes this farm girl's heart away. He flirts with her, and she kind of flirts back, even while he's doing stuff with the rich city girl. And then she's out, and the slicker, he kind of seduces her, and they're having a good old time. And then she kind of breaks it off with her best friend, her beau, who they were more or less engaged. And then it's revealed that it was all just a gag, a game. They were the rich folks were playing a game with her, and just with her feelings. And she's in tears. Oh, and I lost what's his name, and this other guy, he's just horrible. And then while she's boo-hooing her heart out, he's right there and says, "I know, I understand, I believe you." And then, oh yes, then they are together, forever. Ooh, lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey. Oh, and that is our this time around for a little bit of Valentine's Day romance from My Romantic Adventures, number 67, 1956, ACG Comics. So please like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think of this 1950s romance story or romance book, and any of the others. And what do you think of the romance comics overall? Anything like that, let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.